Today we're going to answer a very simple question. What would Dave like to add to his collection in 2021? Hello, it's Dave at Vintage Toy Rush. A warm welcome back to the collection room. Remember when you were a kid and used to look through those catalogues and tick all the things off that you'd love to play with? Or you were looking at those card backs and you were ticking off all those other characters that you wanted to add to your collection? So I've created this wish list card, so let's dig right in and see what I've added to the list. The first items on my list are from Remco Karate Kid. Now, I think this is a very underrated line. It has an amazing set of figures, some awesome play sets. Now, I have most of the figures loose already, but there are two that I just haven't found yet. And those are the molded version of Daniel and the molded version of Johnny. I'd love to find these two just to complete the loose set of figures. You'll know that the fun is in the chase or the hunt. So based on rarity and pricing, I'm going to give each of the items on my list a hunting difficulty rating. And for these Remco Karate Kid figures, I'm going to assign them easy. Another underrated line, I believe, is Coleco's Rambo. The figures are really detailed. They come with a stack of accessories, and I just think they're really cool. Now, there are some figures that are much harder to find than others, and that's because they're only released in South America, I believe, Argentina, I think. I have some of those figures. I've got, just looking around, I've got Dr. Hyde, X-Ray and Snakebite. They're all members of Savage, but they also have some unique Force of Freedom figures as well. And the ones I would like to get this year, if I can, are TD Jackson and Chief. I think these look awesome and would be an amazing addition to my Rambo collection. And I would give these guys a hunting difficulty rating of moderate. I wonder what's next on the list.
What's the password?
I don't know what the password is, but I do know it's Action Man. And just over here on my left is a cabinet containing Action Man. It's a really addictive line to collect. Once you start, you really cannot stop. There are so many outfits to collect. And this year, there are two outfits that I would love to add to the collection. And they are the Mountaineer from 1969, I think it is. And also the Lifeguards. I don't have any ceremonial outfits, and I just love this one. I'd love to get this into the collection. And I'd give these outfits a hunting difficulty rating of moderate. Now, with this damn virus and all the lockdowns that are happening this year in the UK, the chances that I can get to a toy fair at all are pretty much zero. So with that in mind, I think my focus will be to try and purchase fewer items, but of much higher quality. So although this list that I'm compiling right now is quite extensive, at the end of the year, the chances are that I'll probably only have ticked off a couple of those items, but I'm going to be super happy with those items. And hopefully, maybe towards the end of this year, but certainly in 2022, we'll all be back out doing those toy hunts and at those toy fairs. Fingers crossed, eh? There's nothing better than sitting down on a Sunday afternoon and watching a classic James Bond movie, especially in these colder winter months. In my collection, I have a few James Bond items. Just over on my right, I've got a shelf with some cars and some figures. And I'd love to add to that collection. And what I'd really like to find are those Mego Moonraker figures. The ones that have the grey heads where the plastic has degraded over time, but they still look awesome. And the figures that I'd love to find in particular are James Bond himself and Drax. Now, I've read the Moonraker book. I think it's one of the better books in the series. And I just love that Drax character. And to have both those figures on display, I think would look awesome. And I give these figures a hunting difficulty rating of hard. I recently received this Palatoy Action Force Collector's Guide. It's a really cool book. I'll probably do a future fan-made video on this. Now, I have just a handful of Action Force figures from the first series. I think they're really cool. The artwork as well is amazing on the card backs. And having looked through this book, there are a few more things I'd like to add to the Action Force collection. Now, the first thing I'd like to add to the Action Force collection is the Kraken. Who doesn't want a Kraken in their collection? and this guy looks amazing, especially with his accessories. And then to go with that, I'd also like to try and pick up the Skeletron. Again, a really cool looking figure. He's going to look amazing sat next to the Kraken on the shelves. And then finally, and for me, this really is one of my holy grails, I would love to pick up the Robo Skull. Now, this is really a stretch goal. They're probably pretty hard to find, especially complete, and also to find one at a reasonable price as well. But who knows, I've got to hope, and maybe by the end of the year, I'll be able to pick up one. I would give the figures a hunting difficulty rating of moderate, and the Robo Skull a hunting difficulty rating of hard. Sticking with aliens, let's talk about another one of my favourite toy lines, and that's Micronauts. Just over here I've got a couple of shelves with some Micronauts figures and vehicles. I really like this line because you'll just find unique things. You just find sculpts and ideas that you just won't find in any other toy lines. Now, I have quite a number of figures, but one of the areas of Micronauts that I really like but have no figures for at all is their aliens line. Now, there are 3 aliens that I would love to get hold of, and they are Antron. This looks so fantastic with his accessories. Kronos, again, just another awesome, unique figure. And Lobos. Just unique, crazy ideas. I really hope somewhere out there I can find these figures. I'm not exactly sure how rare they are. They're probably not that easy to get hold of, especially with their accessories, but you never know. So I'll give these guys a hunting difficulty rating of moderate. I'm always on the lookout for new things, and one toy line that's always struck me is Crystar from Remco. Now, I don't have any figures or play sets from that line, but there's just something about them that really attract me. I think it's to do with the transparent look that the figures have. I don't know how difficult they are to find, how rare they are, especially in the UK. I've got a feeling that they could be quite difficult to get hold of. But I will keep an eye out throughout this year, and if any Crystar figures appear that seem a reasonable price and in good condition, then I'll try and pick them up. So I'm going to give Crystar a hunting difficulty rating of moderate. We can't have a wish list without at least mentioning Kenner Star Wars, and last year I was very, very fortunate as I was gifted these 2 cards, a Tri-Logo and a Return of the Jedi. And this year I would love to fill out that collection and add at least 1 Star Wars card. I don't really mind what figure that is, and also 1 Empire Strikes Back card. I would love Yoda, but again, I don't really mind which card that is. Now, also in my Star Wars collection, I've got a number of ships, but there is one ship, the ship if you like, that I don't have, and that's the Millennium Falcon. So I'd love to get hold of at least a complete Millennium Falcon. And finally, from a figure perspective, loose figure perspective, there's one that I've been after for a while, but they always just seem so expensive, and to be honest, they're not going to get any cheaper, and that is a blue Snaggletooth. If I can get one of those at a reasonable price, I may pull the trigger. I don't know. It always seems way too much for just a small figure, but we'll see. So there you are, 4 items that I'd love to add to my Star Wars collection. And I would give all of those items a hunting difficulty rating of moderate. Finally, we come to Indiana Jones, one of my favourite films from back in the day. If you just look over my shoulder here, I have a collection of Kenner Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, there's one oddity in that Kenner line, and that was the 12-inch Indiana Jones figure. You know, the one with the really, really terrible hat. Now, if I can find this figure for a decent price and in decent condition, then I'll probably grab him to help complete that collection. So I'll give the 12-inch Indy figure a hunting difficulty rating of moderate. Did you know that there's actually another Indiana Jones toy line produced back in the 80s, and that was for Temple of Doom by LJN. Now, they only had 3 figures, and today they're actually pretty hard to find, especially with the accessories. In fact, in the UK, in all my toy hunting travels, I've only ever come across them once, and even then they didn't have their accessories. So this is going to be a tough job. Now, the 3 figures are Indiana Jones himself, Mola Ram, and Giant Huggy, and I think they look pretty cool. So I'll give these 3 figures a hunting difficulty rating of hard. Well, there's my wish list for 2021, and to be honest, for many years to come as well. This year, if I manage just to find a couple of those items, then I'll be very, very happy to add those into the collection room. Let me know what your favourites are from that list, and maybe also let me know what you're looking for as well this year. If you've got a vintage rush from this video, then please subscribe, comment and like. I always respond to comments and always appreciate the support that this channel receives. So all I have left to say until next time is stay vintage, stay safe, and cheers everyone.